Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Lee with Seize the Market, and welcome to today's episode about dangers of a high D. Dun, dun, dun. Now, what does that mean, high D? Well, I am certainly referencing the behavioral assessment, DISC, D-I-S-C. And just to jump right into it, D is the dominant behavior, the driver gone unchecked. They are like the A+++ personality, and they're usually, entrepreneurs, leaders, executives. However, there are some definite dangers and pitfalls I want to talk about today, because typically they're hailed as, oh my gosh, a high D. Oh, I'm a high D. Oh, you have a high D on your team. Like it's some great trophy to have, right? So I kind of swing on this side of the fence today in today's discussion. Not that high Ds aren't awesome. I'm a high D, so hey, maybe we're all pretty awesome. No, but seriously, I'm talking about this topic today because I believe there's maybe some overcompensation on the glorification of a high D. So I really wanted to share some of my personal experiences and pitfalls in that, and hopefully help others learn from those and give you some tools and some strategies on how to handle that. So 3 points I'm going to go over today on the dangers of high Ds. And certainly there are more than 3. There's probably like 80 bajillion, but we won't get into all of that quite today. We'll save that in pieces for later so we can gift you all throughout the year. All right. So the first thing is that high D does not mean you have a license. You have a license to be a jerk. Okay. Just because you sign the checks, just because you are the employer, does that mean that you can run people over? And the thing is that I don't believe that most high Ds are planning on doing it, but a lot of the times we have such a strong drive and personality that we don't even know we're doing it. And that was the case with me. I was just being me. And when I look back and the feedback that I've gotten over the years, I mean, when I was, right out of college in my teens, man, I was like a bull in a china cabinet. Now, a lot of people would say that I'm still a bull in a china cabinet, but maybe I learned a little bit more delicacy, a little bit more touch along the way, and I'm still a huge work in progress. And I think all us high Ds are. And the thing is that most don't know that you are crushing people sometimes. And I'm kind of saying that pretty bluntly here. And what I mean by that is when you're being passionate, when you're being all in, right? And you're just being you, it's pretty intense. And it may be normal for you, but for most other people, that's not normal. And that, like a heavy dose of that on an ongoing basis, unfiltered, unchecked, can really create some stress and some conflict unbeknownst to you. So what I mean, and I'm really highlighting the fact that you don't even know that you're doing it. Now, for others who have gained a little bit more self-awareness, maybe gone through some personal development and training, you do realize that now, or through just your own events and your own chaos that you created kind of knocked you upside your head. And you're like, yeah, I do see some of the symptoms of my ways of being or my behavior. And so I just want to bring that to the forefront. So number 1 point is that, you may be a bit much, you may be too intense, you may even be a jerk and you don't even know it. Just watch yourself, be aware of how you're being with other people. And it even comes out in the form of, I'm so driven, I want to have this happen so bad. I wanted this yesterday. That the way you communicate that, the way you show up and handle that with people around you, whether it's coworkers or whether it's your team members or maybe other agents, who knows, but anybody that can come across, even though, hey, you might even be frustrated with yourself, for some things not happening or you bumbled up something. But when that massive amount of energy that you have inside you, like spills over into other innocent bystanders, they may not know what it's about. They don't know that it's really more at you. Instead, they think it's at them, and it can still be quite prickly at times when it's, even if you didn't intend it that way. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is, as high Ds, we are great problem solvers, like awesome, trophy, gold medal, thank you very much, round of applause. However, who'd have thunk it that sometimes it might work against you, right? So it's kind of like being an enabler. If you're always the one solving problems, you will be the only problem solver, because it's like easy. If you look at the way things are solved, people are going to go to the path of least resistance, right? So if you're the path of least resistance as a problem solver, and so then everybody's coming to you to solve their problems and you keep solving it for them, hey, if I was on the other side, I'd keep coming back to you too to solve my problems because you just do it. Sounds good to me. Sounds like a master plan that you set up for yourself. And again, those are one of those things that many people don't realize that they're doing when they just go into hyperactive problem solving mode. Well, here's the thing that happens, the consequence of that's unintended, which is when you're like the main problem solver, then you're whittling away the ability for other people to really solve problems. And you've really trained them to come to you. And so to correct that, what you want to do is really empower them to solve problems and have faith in them that they are smart enough, that they are able enough to come up with great solutions themselves. And as you become larger in your operations and there's more problems for you to solve, the practical part comes in too. At the end of the day, you can't solve everybody's problems. There's not enough bandwidth. There's not enough hours in a day for you to do all of that. You might be quite capable, but you don't want to. That is not a business, right? That's everything funneling on you and everything is weighing on your shoulders. And it starts getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And you're like, oh my gosh, what is going on? You need a breather. And then also you set it up so that if you're not there for some reason, goodness gracious, if you took a vacation, then all that weight, it's got to go somewhere. It's going to either come crashing down because there's nobody else that's exercised their muscle of solving a problem because you have atrophied that muscle for them by virtue of you doing it for them. So now let's go back to the solution. How do you get that off your plate? How do you start getting problems off your shoulders and also empowering others to do so? So in a team setting, what you want to do, and again, this is with anybody and everybody, whether it's agents, admin, any type of support, any position, I believe in doing this because I want all of them to have the strongest problem-solving muscles ever. I want them to be like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of problem-solving muscles, right? Like beefy and just powerful. So what do? You exercise it. And guess what? It may not be beautiful in the beginning. It might not be perfect. Well, guess what? If you had atrophied muscles and you were exercising it for the first time, it would be awkward as crap in the beginning, no matter who you are. So if you know you've been in the habit of being the ultimate problem solver and atrophying everybody's muscle, then hey, own up to it. Kind of suck it up, buttercup, for a little bit until you kind of coach them and you're like their strength coach in getting that muscle back. So when somebody comes to you with a problem, what do? Well, again, go back to you believe that they have the ability to solve the problem. And another part of that is I refuse to be the only problem solver. The end. It's kind of like both ways, right? So I have a little bit of both going on in my head when I'm thinking and saying this. And so, and I think both channeled the right way is very healthy. And so now your instructions to them is great. I am more than happy to help you solve any problem you have. I'm here to support you. When you come to me with anything that we want to work on together, I want you to come to me with 3 solutions. All right. And I know you're genius enough to handle it and you're going to come up with 3 great things. And then let's look at it together. And from one of those, we might take one and massage it and we'll help you tweak it. And then boom, you're good to go. But I know very full and well that you are fully capable of coming up with something brilliant yourself. So let's let you really shine and help you exercise that muscle. And that's what's going to make you even more amazing. Right? So you really want to wrap that in a very positive, like energetic, inspiring sort of way. So it's about them becoming better. It's about them shining. And, I've heard so many stories where somebody else was standing in the shadow of another. And when that person went away, wow, this person really came and just brought it. Like, where did that come from? I didn't know that person had all those gifts and sparkles. Yeah, because they were standing in someone's shadow and you never gave them the chance to really stand up and shine. So now we're saying purposefully get people out of the shadow, purposefully empower them to come up with solutions and have faith that they're going to come up with something amazing, something that either it's the exact same thing as you would have thought of, or they might even come up with something even better. And you're like, holy crap, why have I been holding them back from all these great ideas? I mean, at some point, you're going to be like, who was I to do that? Geez, should have let them loose even sooner. And so those are the possibilities that open up to you when you step out of being the only problem solver and you start empowering others to bring solutions to the table. So what I have trained my team to do is whenever they come in and they say, hey, you know, I have a problem. I need your help, whatever the language is. You're like, all right, cool. What you got? And they know right then and there that I'm looking for their 3, that I will not go forward unless they have their 3. If they don't, they say, okay, great. Why don't you come up with 3 and try it out and tell me what worked, what didn't, and we'll go over it together, and then we'll find a solution in that. And they're like, okay, cool. So that's one way of handling not being the ultimate and only problem solver in your business. Also, the other thing that I'm going to squeeze in a little bonus one here is the magic of give me something to say yes to. I wish I had that little Staples easy button. So here's what I imagined when I was saying that. It's like you press the Staples easy button and it's like, that was easy. That's what I want. That's what I want for every person that brings me something. I just want to be like, yes, yes, yes. That was easy. That was easy. And that was easy. Woohoo! Life is great. So how does that show up in my business? How have I trained my team members to talk in that language? All right, give me something to say yes to. All right. So they're like, hey, Christine, do you want this or this or this? You know, they give me all these options and I got like a whole bunch of stuff going on and my brain is like, noise, like stuff I don't really want to or probably need to process. So I'm like, they can do more of the processing for me. So it came about to say, okay, great. That's fantastic information. So what I'd love for you to do is dial it down into a plan and let me see exactly what you mean, get kind of to the bottom line and give me something that I can say yes to. So instead of saying, hey, do you want this or this or this? They can rephrase that to, hey, we need to choose this. Here's what I recommend. Here are your 2 options. I recommend this. Is that okay? Do you say yes to that? Then I can be like, yes. Right? See how that works? And that works for any process. It doesn't even have to be a choice. It can be, hey, we wanted to schedule something or we want to get X, Y, and Z going. So it's like, hey, Christine, you said you wanted to get that going. I scheduled it for this, or this is the next action step. Does that work for you? Say yes. Okay. Yes. Cool. And that is literally the wrap up of the conversation. Present like 5 to 10 seconds, nuts and bolts. I say yes, on to the next. All right. So I love, I think I want to have that tattooed on my forehead someday. And I'm kind of joking, but just give me something to say yes to, right? Just wrap it up in the bow, clean it up. Don't give me like this whole dirty, moppy mess when you know how to clean it up. And if you don't, I will teach you. I will kind of guide you through the pattern of it. And most people catch on and say, okay, I know, I get it. I see how she wants it cleaned up now. So then they give it to me in a nice bundled up fashion and say, I'm giving you something to say yes to. Here's how else it shows up. When a team member says, hey, Christine, something, and we've already gone through the exercise of give me something to say yes to, then all this noise is coming at me. Oh, how about this? Kind of falling into maybe the previous pattern. I'll just kind of sit back and say, what do you think my answer is? And they look at me and they're like, I know where she's going with this. She's like, give you something to say yes to. And then I'll say, perfect. Let me know when you're ready for that. So then they'll go and then get back into their pattern. So it's about not only teaching them the first time about how to be that easy yes button and giving me something to say yes to. It's that when they come back and kind of, fall off the wagon, just reinforce it. And if you communicated that clearly enough and you're consistent enough, even when they fall off the wagon, just every now and then, right? Just in the, course of the day or whatever, you just stick to it. And they will get the message. They will learn. And they're more than happy to learn. That's the thing. It's just a new habit. It's just a new muscle. It's not anything like super rocket science, but it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So, all right. Yeah. One of my all-time favorite phrases. There you have it, folks. And the third part is as high Ds. A lot of high Ds have a very high threshold for change, which means also a very low need for stability and steadiness, okay? That will pretty much drive the rest of your team crazy, because especially your administrative staff who are more high S and C, which is why you hired them. You don't need more of you running around. You guys are like the high Ds, are like hurricanes and tornadoes. I had a joke with previous partner. where we called each other category 3, category 4, category 5 hurricanes. Like we were just pretty gosh darn bad. Now, 2 hurricanes interacting with each other, we're like, woohoo! And we would go at it and cause even more chaos. And it was so much fun. And the rest of our team was like, oh my gosh, get them away from each other. We are going to build a wall between them so they can stop this craziness. So the thing is that the rest of our administrative staff and even our other non-support, even if they're in sales, their threshold for change may not be as crazy as you and I, if you're Heidi out there. And so if you're an admin listening to this, recognize that your threshold for change is not as high as theirs. So if they're like throwing stuff around, not literally, but in terms of ideas or plans or strategies, and you're like, whoa, let's wrangle that in. That's a natural part of a process. That's a thing, okay? And I say it's a thing because sometimes if you know it's a thing, like it's a distinction, you know it's not just you being crazy, right? It's perfectly normal. It's a thing. So Heidi's, when you go to implement or institute some type of change, there's language that you can have around that to help communicate and bridge the gap to others that have a lower threshold for change that can help as you pivot in your business, as you make those changes and not drive everybody completely nuts. So what does that look like? Well, you're delivering value by your changes, right? It's not like you want to do change just to create chaos and have no better results. It's because you want a better result. So your role as a leader is in articulating that so that you can get buy-in from the team for that particular purpose. So for a admin, the SCs out there who like details and stability and consistency, your language with them would sound more like, hey, we're doing this for this result, to grow our business, and then you tie it back to their need, their basic root need from their behavioral style of whether it's stability or whether it's consistency or precision. So in terms of someone who has a high S who likes stability and consistency, hey, when we do this, it's going to grow our business so that it creates stability and consistency in our revenue or in our ability to do X, Y, and Z so that you always have a place to be and you don't ever have to worry about things not whatever. But you're tapping in and you're accessing that element of the stability that it will create, the stability in their job security, the stability in the growth of the company, the stability in what you can do with that, provide them with additional stability, maybe additional, bonuses, incentives, or whatever that can then help them build their nest egg for additional stability. Whatever that thing is, that's going to be all more personal and specific, but that's how you would approach an S. And then when you get into the people who are more precision driven, then you're going to be all about, okay, we're going to do this is for the growth of the company. And then that's going to translate to the way we're going to do this is with your help. And you're going to really knock this out of the ballpark. We're going to do it with precision and accuracy. And this is going to be awesome. And we're going to do this in a way that's well planned and establishes X, Y, and Z, in these 21 steps, here you go, right? So whatever that language is, you're tapping into their safe place. And again, there's the people who are the high eyes, like, hey, I love life, people and relationships. Hey, we're going to grow this business so we can build even more great relationships. We're going to have a ball doing it. Oh my gosh, doesn't this sound like fun? Lots of energy, lots of excitement, enthusiasm. And again, that's their language. That's their joy zone, their safe place. So again, Heidi's, you need to really bridge that gap between where you're at. And you can't be like, I'm king of the jungle. I'm the Heidi. Come to me. It's like, no. It takes two to tango. It's like any relationship. You got to meet them in the middle. So yes, they need to stretch themselves a little bit, but as long as you're helping bridge that gap and speak their language and speak about what's most important to them and why it's of value to them, then you will be able to be your Heidi self, carry on and create your tornadoes, pivot like crazy. Oh my gosh, the pivots that I did in my business and the way we did it together in my team, I look back and I'm like, wow, really love my team. They were pretty awesome. They just crushed it. And we did it together, and we bought into whatever it is that we were changing for the right reasons. We discussed it. We refined it together. We had input, and that collaboration, people won't buy in until they weigh in, right? So get them to weigh in, let them have a voice, create that space. And you can be a high D, be all crazy and create and change all the time, and still have a really great team, great culture, and have fun doing it together, and have some great stories to tell later. And believe it or not, even the way of operating as a high D, you can build systems and habits and structures around that. And I alluded to that in terms of some of the shared language and the patterns and the way of reinforcing that. So to me, everything can be systematized, right? Behaviors, process, technology, people, the way you interact with them, those can all have systems in terms of language, systems in terms of reaction, systems in terms of giving positive reinforcement, constructive feedback. Those are all systems, because you want to repeat it and make it scalable, not just for one person, for many, many, many others to come. So whenever you get into that repeatable and scalable language, then it's all about systems, no matter what it is, like anything in your business. It's all systems. So I'm a systems nut. That's what I'm known for. So if you are looking to put amazing systems either for your people, process, technology in place, and you want to break through to the next level and have an amazing conversation about what's stopping you and how to bust through that, let's chat. Go to seizethemarket.com/talk, and we're going to have an honest conversation on where you're at now, where you'd like to be, and how to close that gap. Again, book your time now. It's a free strategy call, seizethemarket.com/talk. And I will see you later. All right, thanks. Bye.